What's up, everybody? It's your favorite hood healer. It's your favorite hood priestess. It's your favorite motivational dominatrix. It's your favorite auntie, captain, goddess, king, LadySpeech in the place to be. And I want to welcome you back to this here channel. You could be anywhere in the world. Absolutely, positively, anywhere in the world. As a matter of fact, you are somewhere in the world, and you're also sharing a bit of time and space with me, and I appreciate that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're feeling this, if you're feeling me, if you like what I'm doing, if you like what you see, you know what to do. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notifications bell so you can stay up with all of my activities. Now, let's get into today's topic, shall we? What's going on, everybody? Today is Monday, February the 8th. So, number one, happy Black History Month to you. And number two, happy Monday to you. Today is Mystic Monday over here. So we are going to talk about a little bit of mysticism, a little bit of witchcraft, and a little bit of spirituality. So baby witches, old school witches, new witches, seasoned witches, this video is for you. Now, as you can see from the title of this video, this is witchcraft on a budget, aka old school witchcraft, aka use what you got container edition. All right. So, as you know, if you are a practicing spiritualist, witch, you know, all that stuff, you probably make things. Or if not, you collect things. As you get deeper into your spirituality, as you get deeper into the practice of your witchcraft, as you get deeper into the practice of your magic, you start amassing things, crystals, tools, herbs, and all that good stuff. So as I have grown in my practice, I have amassed quite a few herbs and different containers for different purposes. You know, witches, magics, occultists, we use containers for all types of things, okay? So I like different types of containers to hold offerings on my altars. I appreciate containers for my workings. I use containers to make my potions or to store things. I use containers for a lot of different reasons, like a lot of spiritualists, healers, priestesses, witches, warlocks, a lot of us. We have a lot of reasons why we use containers, okay? So let's talk about, first and foremost, using what you got. Witchcraft on a budget container edition. Before me, I have several different types of containers that I currently am using. They're in rotation in some type of way, or they're waiting to be in rotation. So let's break it on down. Alrighty then. First and foremost, I got this really cool looking container for cheap, actually, at TJ Maxx. I liked it because it, number one, it had that like little spot of yellow on it, and number two, I liked it because it reminded me of like science experiments, and I knew that I was looking for containers to store my herbs in. So I got this from TJ Maxx. I spent like $2 or $3 on this. So one of the things that I want to say is, do not overlook the dollar store. Don't overlook like TJ Maxx, Ross. Don't overlook the little, you know, overstock stores. Don't overlook those, okay? Because many times you can find a lot of good things, especially when it comes to containers. You do not have to spend $1 billion on your practice. You don't have to spend $1 billion on your practice. If you don't have a lot of money to spend, you can still get like really cool quality items and honor your practice that way. And I want to remind you that so much of old school practicing, so much of old school occult stuff, so much old school witchcraft was about using what you had where you had. If there's been a lot of people who've discovered like you know, witches in their family or ancestors in their family who practiced, or who, you know, were root workers, or who were hoodoos, or who are conjurers, or who were witches. A lot of them will discover workings or containers or bottles that were everyday things, you know. There are a lot of times our ancestors took everyday containers and repurposed those and reused those. So it is very much in the tradition of magic to not, number one, use what you got, and number two, recycle what you have, okay? Speaking of recycling, let's get into the next part of this video. So this little container is actually a yogurt container. Yogurt came in this, so if you can really see, it's a small container. I like it, a small glass container. This is really good for burning candles. This is really good for just holding things. This is really good for making offerings, but I saw this in the store. This is a brand of yogurt that I am not being sponsored by, so I am not going to tell you their names, but I actually wasn't really into yogurt before that. I ended up doing two things. I picked this up because I wanted the container. And so and then I actually ended up discovering a yogurt that I like. Before this yogurt, I wasn't really a fan of too much yogurt, but after I tasted this yogurt, so I won twice. But sometimes, you know, don't skip on your grocery store. There's gonna be times where I buy things because I want the container, okay? Because I want the container, not necessarily the contents inside of the container. So this is really cool because this is cheap. It's not, I think this is like $2 to $3, not even $3. I think this is usually like $1.49 actually. Like $1.49, $1.29, round about there. And then I get a really nice container. I've used this to burn candles, the tall pillar candles. So if you don't have any, or like even the chime candles or even the tea light candles. So this is an old yogurt space for you potion makers out there. If you are making oils or if you are making potions, old, what you call it? Salad dressing bottles are perfect for that. So this is an old salad dressing bottle, and this is exactly what this is going to be used for. I'm going to use this to make oils, and I like it because it's got a pretty wide mouth, and also it's big enough for me to take a brush and clean it out with as well. And this is a sturdy bottle. This is good glass. You can see all the way through it, and so old salad dressing bottles are really good for you young baby witches who are out here looking to make oils and those types of concoctions. And do not sleep on your old school or your old spice bottles as well, okay? So this is really good. I like to use this when I make my own blends. If I'm going to make my own incense blend, if I'm going to make my own resin blend, if I'm going to make, I often will make a like protection blend. I'll make a specialized blend for myself or for other people. And I like it too because this particular old spice bottle has these grooves in it. So it just makes it easy for usage and storage. So I like to make some of my things in smaller batches so that they don't go bad, and this provides a really beautiful opportunity to make these in small batches, and then just to use it I can just sprinkle it and all that good stuff. And also it remains sealed, it remains fresh and all that good stuff. So do not sleep on your old spice jars as well. These two, depending on the shape, you can do other things with this. If you had a tall pillar candle, you could stick it on in there. If you just didn't have nothing and you needed to burn it, so you could probably use this as well. So many different, and also these are good bottles to work. These spice bottles are good spell bottles too. So if you're working a spell, if you're working a little spell, or no matter how big the spell is, if you're working on a person, if you're working on yourself, if you're working on a particular thing, if you were working on something and it needs to be worked, you need to be shaking it, you need to pray over it, you need to be working it in your hands, the spice bottles are really, really, really good for that purpose as well. This is a tea bottle. This is a tea bottle that I've gotten from Whittier Cafe. You guys have heard me talk about Whittier Cafe before on this channel. So it's a black woman owned coffee shop here in Colorado. So she sells loose tea as well, and I do buy loose tea from her as well. And these are the bottles that it comes in. I absolutely love the way this smells. So these are the bottles that it comes in, and it has just a simple wrapper, just a simple paper wrapper. So I usually just ended up soaking this in water to remove the wrapper, and then it's good to go. And then last but not least, one of my favorite things to store herbs in is old, doesn't smell like it anymore, but old spaghetti jars. These are absolutely perfect. I love the size of these come in. So old spaghetti jars are my absolute favorite to store magical supplies, especially when it comes to herbs, okay? So do not sleep on your grocery store. Do not sleep on the dollar store, the Dollar General, things of that nature, Family Dollar, those kind of stores. Don't sleep on your thrift stores as well. Thrift stores are an amazing place to pick up containers. But a word about thrift stores, I want to say this. If you get anything, clothes from anything from thrift stores, if you get things that are used, make sure you're not only cleaning it physically, but you're also cleaning it energetically. Especially if you intend to use these things for, spiritual purpose, make sure you take it to the process of physically cleaning it, and also take it to the process of cleaning it as well. And you should be doing that with all your sacred objects, all the objects that you're going to be using in your magic practice, be it to make things, to store things, to use on your altar work. You should be cleansing everything that you're using for the spiritual, purpose. A word about labels. Let's talk about removing labels real quick. So of course, as you can see, these were old salad dressing bottles. These were old, yogurt bottles. This was an old spice bottle. That's an old spaghetti bottle. The worst part about using old items is taking off the labels. I don't like having the labels of other things on it. With stuff like this, sometimes you're gonna see glasses or bottles that have names imprinted or words imprinted on the actual bottle. That's fine. But I don't like to leave the labels of things when I'm using it, especially if I'm using it for a magical practice. So I used to get Gorilla Glue, which has been in the news lately, but Gorilla Glue also has a remover. So I used to swear by that. And then it just really dawned on me. My ancestors were like, you don't even have to do all that. Soak it in a bowl of hot water. Hello. So even the most stubborn labels, I will put it just in a bowl of hot water, and I will keep refreshing, and I will make sure that the thing is submerged, and I will keep refreshing that hot water as I need to. Sometimes I might add a little bit of Dawn soap, especially as it gets deeper into the process, and then usually my labels come right off. If they don't peel right off, if they're not already kind of disintegrated in the water, I just scrape it off, and it's an easy process. Okay, so this bottle, as you can see, I'm gonna put herbs in this, or actually other tea. So usually when I store my bottles, they are like this. I don't put the top on because these were used for other things. A lot of times it takes a minute for that smell to come out of especially the top of it. So even no matter how long you cook it, but you clean it, no matter how well you clean it, sometimes it just sticks to the top. So I store these usually without the top and let it air out good, and then I usually never have a problem. I like to, the traditions that I follow very much are about taking care of the earth. They're very much, when you think about Ifa, or you think about hoodoo, conjure, voodoo, which is where my study and my practice surrounds those. All of those are very much about recycling, reusing, the green movement. It's very much about respecting the earth, not taking too much. So, these religions and these spiritual spaces are not about hoarding things. They're about taking what you need, using what you need, giving back when you need to, and reusing what you can, okay? In the conjure and the hoodoo space, when you look at with the few pictures that exist for a lot of us, and for some of us, a lot of us have a lot more visuals that exist to this, but you'll notice that a lot of folks use just regular household products. The bottles and the containers from household products, be it, from grease to laundry detergents to different things. These were really cool, ornate bottles that they just kept and used over again. So like I said, it's very much in the tradition of magic to use what is around you, to use exactly what you have, to repurpose things, to reuse things. So witchcraft isn't always about, the occult and the spiritual practice isn't always about having the latest gadget. It's not always having, sometimes the best containers, the best things that you have come regifted. There's actually a bottle. I bought a bottle of wine probably about 6 months ago. And a friend of mine, she wanted a bottle of wine. So I went to we were gonna hang out. And so I went to the store, got a bottle of wine for her, and I saw this bottle of rosé. I'm not even a fan of rosé like that, but I saw this really beautiful bottle of rosé, and it's tucked away right now, and it was heavy. The glass was heavy, and then at the top it was a rose. It was a beautiful ornate, glass rose. Picked that right on up. I think I spent like $25–30 on it. Well worth it. The rosé was actually really good. The rosé was really good. But also that's a bottle that I'm going to use for love potions. I'm gonna work some love stuff in there, especially because it has the rose. So I've got a self-love formulation that I've been working on, a self-love oil that I'm going to work in that bottle. Okay, so, and I like the bottle because it's very heavy. The glass is quality, it's heavy glass. It's gonna look pretty as it is sitting on my workstation marinating. I love the energy of the rose, so definitely, like, you know, that energy is gonna add to the essence. So yeah, you know, don't be afraid. I will buy candles. There's definitely things that I have bought that it wasn't about what's inside of the container. It was about the container itself. So don't be afraid to recycle. Don't be afraid to reuse. And if someone is talking crap about you because you're doing that, remind them that this is old school witchcraft. And that there's nothing wrong with this. You don't have to spend $1 billion to begin or to maintain your practice. I'm not gonna lie to you and say you don't end up investing a lot of money in your practice. I spend a good amount of money on offerings. I spend a good amount of money on herbs and containers. I do work for people. I create mojo bags. I do make my own formulations for myself, spiritual baths. I make things for my clients. If they require a spiritual bath, if they require something extra, I make those things for them. So I end up investing a good amount in tools. I end up investing a good amount in, you know, in things. But there's also ways that you don't have to break the bank with this. And reusing containers is one of them. And I do know, like I said before, a foundational part of a lot of indigenous magic is about preserving the earth, is about not being excessive, okay? The magic that I practice is not about excessive. It's not about being excessive. It's not about going overboard. It is literally about using what you got to get what you need. It's about giving back and being balanced. It's not about over harvesting. Take exactly what you need, leave the rest, and, you know, and create an exchange inside of that. Don't just take, but also give back as well. All right, y'all, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover on today's video. Let me know in the comments what you thought about today's video. Also, let me know if you are a practicing witch, healer, priestess, shaman, Ogan, Mambo, you know, conjurer, hoodoo, voodoo sant. Let me know in the comments, you know, practitioner, occultist, spiritualist, whatever you call yourself, witch doctor. Let me know in the comments, what is one of your favorite containers to reuse? What do you like to use? What is something that you've been either taught to use or taught to reuse? Okay. Like I said, these spaghetti jars are absolutely my favorite. They're part of my favorite. If I need to contain a big container, well, I'll just go that week and make myself a pot of spaghetti and get myself a jar at the same time. So let me know in the comments what your favorite jar or container to reuse is. And also, don't let this limit you to just jars. Jars are my favorite thing to like recycle, but I have recycled a lot of different types of containers and repurposed them for other things. So also let me know in the comments if you repurpose other things as well. Some of you might repurpose, you know, the toilet paper, you know, rolls, you know, the inside of the toilet cardboard that goes there. Some of you might repurpose boxes. I do repurpose boxes. Okay? Also, like if I'm working a honey jar or a sour jar, I usually most always just like repurpose or reuse a jar. Okay? All right. Well, that is it for your Mystic Monday update. If you're feeling this, if you're feeling me, if you like what I'm doing, if you like what you see, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you can keep up with these here shenanigans. All right, I plan on bringing you guys a lot more witchy content, so stay tuned for that. Also, if you are wanting some regular motivational content from me, go ahead and follow my Patreon. You can look up Motivational Dominatrix LadySpeech on Patreon and go ahead and subscribe and support me on there. I'm also on OnlyFans as well. So last week I just started my account. So last week I started with some pictures. This week we're going to do some story time, some erotic erotic story time. So you can expect burlesque, you can expect erotic story time, you can expect toy reviews. So that's what I'm going to be getting down on my OnlyFans. Again, just head on over to OnlyFans and look up LadySpeech, as well as I'm on Twitter. I'm in the Twitterverse. So LadySpeech on Twitter as well. And the new Instagram is LadySpeech Sankofa. So I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place. You can find me if you need me. And on that note, I'm going to let you lovelies go. And I'll see you in the next video. Mwah.